Join us in setting the tone for the day. Panorama is a current affairs program on Splash 106.7 FM. It airs every weekday from Mondays to Fridays. And Goyega and I are always glad on Monday to start with the issue of the day.
All right, so let's start with the issue of the day straight away. The election to decide who will wear the cap of Anambra State's governor took place on Saturday, 6th November. Amidst highly charged circumstances such as the general security situation in the southeast, as well as the reversal of IPOB's sit-at-home order less than 48 hours to the election.
With an estimated population of almost 12 million people, it came down to its over 2.5 million registered voters and 5,720 polling units to select which candidate to elect among its 18 political parties. It ought to have been a fairly straightforward process, as gubernatorial elections are hardly new to our democratic dispensation. However, events since Saturday have thwarted such an expectation.
Most notable is the declaration by Inec of the election as inconclusive because there was no election held in the Ihiala local government area, which has over 148,000 registered voters and 326 polling units. As issue of the day, a review of the conduct of the election so far is in order, so let us do so. And we have joining us on the line the Executive Director of Development Initiative, Mr. Bukola Idowu. He joins us live on the line this morning. Good morning to you, Mr. Idowu. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be here this morning with you. Good morning.
All right. So you were in Anambra over the weekend to cover the election. A lot of people had suggested or posited what to expect, especially with the state of the security in that part of the country. So I'd like to start by asking, what was your overall assessment of the conduct of the election on Saturday?
The overall assessment of the election was that the election was generally peaceful, and I think that was one of the major worries of people, even the election stakeholders, the government, the citizens, and election observers. So the election security has been the major worries of everybody. Don't forget that election. Initially, IPOB declared sit-at-home during the which also fall within that election. So there have been agitation whether people will come out because the previous sit-at-home order the IPOB have declared, and any violation they've been able to met out violence to those people. So nobody wants to disobey IPOB. So that has been the major issue. However, from just like about 48 hours to that election, IPOB suspended that sit-at-home order. So that gave a green light for that election. So the election was so unique, was so peculiar, because for two reasons. Number one, it's happening because within the scope of secessionist agitation in the southeast, not Anambra alone. You will recall that the old Southeast have been we witnessed one form of violence or the other, Imo, Ebonyi, Enugu, and so it's happening within that insecurity within the region. Number two, the election is also happening within. Unfortunately, the election is happening within the trial. Fall within the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB. So it was so unique, and so that gave all eyes on that election. And so if you ask me, after the election, their whole assessment, because my organization, KDI, Kimpa Development Initiative, also track through the project we call Nigeria Violence Election Monitoring, track the issue of violence and potential for violence. And I can tell you the election was peaceful. The NVCH cases of violence that people were expecting did not happen. Of course, deployment of police was encouraging. As you know, the IG announced the deployment of over 34,000 policemen. Then the civil defense announced 20,000. The DSS also deployed. So it was an atmosphere where the Nigerian army also deployed. So it was an atmosphere, filled with security agencies, and the election was peaceful. That was the overall assessment, the aspect of safety. But in the aspect of I think the preparation of INEC to conduct that election, I think the overall assessment is a little bit below average. Of course, they try within the context, but when you look at some of the cases that happen, the malfunctioning of the beavers deployed for that election was not encouraging at all. And then when you also look at it, that 24 hours before the election, people are still collecting, they are still distributing PVC, which supposed not to be, So most of these arrangements call to question INEC preparation towards that election. But however, the election still had, and another assessment we noticed, another thing we assessed, and we also noticed was the issue of low voters turnout. I was on the field around 8:39. I was in Oka South, Oka North, and you don't see people much. Coming out. They were just coming out in trickles. In fact, as at 9 o'clock, there was a polling unit in Oka South where I was there, and the ad-hoc staff were ready, and nobody was coming out at all. So but when it got to around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, people started coming out. Maybe they wanted to observe the security situation, and then people started coming out. At the end of the day, when they started coming out, then the beaver started malfunctioning for some of them, for some of those polling units. So at the end of the day, I think INEC eventually rectified those ones they could rectify. And I can also say that some people that could not exercise that patience went home without voting. Hence, the number of voter turnout we saw. If you look at the result already, you will find out that in fact no candidate has been able to gather like over 200,000. And that shows that it gives you an idea of the voter turnout.
All right, let's linger for a minute on the issue of voters turnout. Low voter turnout has been an issue with elections in Nigeria, and Anambra in particular has a history of low voter turnout. As a matter of fact, there were predictions even before the elections held that the turnout would be low, particularly in light of IPOB's sit-at-home order, which it eventually cancelled. However, that cancellation or that reversal happened less than 48 hours to the election. Did that have any impact? Residents were said to have been hesitant to come out for the election due to the looming threat of the sit-at-home order, but it was eventually cancelled. Did the cancellation have any impact at all in encouraging voters to come out, from your assessment?
Yes, it has a lot of effect. Number one, two things. We are on ground and we conducted a survey and we released the report. Two things are happening in Anambra. Number one is the issue of the IPOB. Number two, there are some other elements. You will recall, like about 48 hours to that election, the Southeast governor came out to issue a press statement to say, look, some people are also using the advantage of IPOB, using their name to foment trouble. I mean, in that particular place, you have the Curtis clash. Also there, the people we call unknown gunmen, they are these unknown gunmen are not really IPOB, because in some cases that unknown gunmen struck, and IPOB came out to say, hey, we are not aware, this is not our, we are not responsible for this. For instance, now, unknown gunmen killed Professor Akwili, the husband of Dora Akwili. And IPOB came out and said, this is not us. And then it was credited to unknown gunmen. So there are copies, there are, what is it called, the unknown gunmen. Then again, don't forget Senator Abaribe, who also was a senator from that region, also said, look, there are over 30 agitationists, secessionist agitationists in that region. So now what happened is that some people are also fomenting trouble and using IPOB as a decoy, for their stuff. So now let me now tie it up how it affected the low turnout. When IPOB called off that low voter turnout, two things are involved. Number one, the issue of trust. So one is that, do the people really even trust IPOB? That is one. So that some people did not trust them. to say, hey, these guys that say, okay, we are calling this sit at home order, they may also want to make a statement. So some people decide to sit at home. Number two is that some people said, hey, look, some people can just take the advantage, and I think it's better we sit at home. I think if you don't go out, nothing will happen. So they don't want to risk their life because of the no government that you can't really know who really they are. As because some people may want to use that to say, look, iPod did not stay true to their word. So some people use that opportunity to sit at home. Aside that, before then, some people also have traveled out of Anambra, because of the security. We know people travel and they don't want to stay. They thought issues of around security is of great concern. So people travel out of Anambra. So that was a lot of factors that were responsible for the low voter turnout. However, the last factor that responsible for the low voter turnout was even the Inec themselves. A lot of people turned back when they discovered the beavers was so slow and was not really working very well. People wanted to come and let me just come and then quickly vote and get back home and stay safe. But when you now come out and then you are spending 1 hour, 2 hours, and it's not yet your turn, so some people decided, hey, let me go back home, and I think I will go and sit at home. It's not really a must for me to vote. So most of these things contributed to the low voter turnout. I remember I went in Oka South. I was in a polling unit in Ward 3, I think St. Benedict Primary School, where you have 600 voter on the voters register. And as at 2 o'clock, when I was there, 50 people have come to vote, 50 to 600. So you can look at that number, you can see that it was abysmally low. So most of these things contributed to that low voter turnout.
All right. Let's beam our searchlight on Inec now for a bit. A lot of people were looking forward to this election for maybe one or two reasons. The first one being the bimodal voter verification system, which Inec is just introducing on a large scale. I know Inec had deployed this in a by-election before now. And also, the issue around e-transmission, because people feel that if INEC is able to pull this off, then maybe e-transmission and transmission of results will not be a challenge. But with INEC sort of dropping the ball in this regard, do you think people will still have trust in INEC as regards transmission of results and even the conduct of the 2023 election?
I think we need to put it in context, within the context, because people are really missing the transmission of results to transmission of voting. They are mixing the two up. And that is where that was where the initial discouragement, the disagreement was with the House of Assembly. And when I say we need to put that in context, see, the electronic transmission of results is different from electronic transmission of votes. People thought, and the legislator thought, that the moment you vote, now it's going to begin to go into a server. No. What happened is that you will vote manually, they will count it there, and the moment they count it, they will now transmit, they will snap the result and transmit it effortlessly, to the main server. So which means the collation officer and INEC server have the result before you come with the original copy. And if anything happened to your original copy, they can fall back on to that one. And which also shows that they did that in this Anambra. If you go to the IREV portal, where we were monitoring from, out of over 5,000 polling units, over like about 4,000, over 4,000. If not 4,600 thereabout, have been uploaded, which means they transmit, and when you go there, they transmitted the result. The counted ballot and the signed sheet was transmitted to that portal. So what it means is that citizens like you, I, and other stakeholders can begin to see the result before that. So that doesn't really affect it, the election. However, this is where civil society, the media, we need to come in and really, really educate the people. However, I also agree that it's going to affect the confidence of because the conversation has been towards electronic voting. What happened in Anambra will affect the confidence of INEC. I mean, the confident people we have on INEC to conduct election electronically. So these are going to be the implication. However, they still have 2 more lifelines. Now, and when I say 2 more lifelines, they have too much lifeline to redeem their image. 1, Osun; 2, Ekiti election, which are coming up in less than 10 months. So they need to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. But if there is if you want to use Anambra election to judge their preparation towards 2023 general election for massive nationwide deployment of beavers, I will say we are not ready.
Okay, well, there's a supplementary election that is to hold tomorrow in Ihiala local government area. And INEC says that because the supplementary election is happening because it could not deploy voting materials to Ihiala due to the security threat. Logistics was also an issue during this election, as reported by multiple election observers. And INEC Rec is on record as saying that some of the vendors perhaps contracted to deliver election materials pulled up before. Voting materials were snatched in some places. As you said, there was delay in voting processes. Some polling units election did not hold. What does this mean for the supplementary election that is holding tomorrow?
Well, I think the supplementary election will go on smoothly because what is going to happen now is that full security, is going to be deployed into Ihiala. Don't forget, it was not the case of ballot box snatching or violence, but it was because election would not even hold at all. So because some people also say, no, don't come and hold election here, coupled with the the disappointment from some of their vendors who are supposed to supply transportation to move ad hoc staff and the sensitive material to that place. However, what they are going to now do now is deploy massively, into that place, security and every other thing. So they with what we have seen on ground, and I think what they are going to have now in Ihiala local government elections tomorrow is going to be smooth. You understand? It's going to be smooth in terms of logistics because it's just one local government, and they are going to deploy that security. They are going to deploy all eyes on the Ihiala local government. Now, their security agency are going to flood the place because they are still on ground. Now, again, where they have disappointment of vehicle, this time around they can withdraw some of the functional vehicles from other local government like Inewi South, Onitsha East, and Oka South, Oka North. What is the name of the Indemili South? And all those places, so they can withdraw some of those vehicles and move a mass to Ihiala local government. So the election is going to hold. However, you see, one of the things responsible for that's a little bit of flop in that election was because some of the people who promised INEC for the fear of IPOB, also withdrew their support in dying minutes. And also, for me, these are conversations we've been having with INEC for over a long period of time. That you can't rely on NURTW to do your job. So what will happen is that, begin to look for some independent logistic organization. For instance, as a matter of fact, there are logistics organizations that have that are credible, that have widespread, that you can actually use for election. Don't forget that even in some perspectives also show that some of these NURTW are also they have chapters and they are also partisan. Some of them are loyal to the government on ground. So most times they use most of these things to deliberately sabotage the election. So this is the time now they need to start looking at alternatives. Look, let's go back to history. 2017, 2017, the same thing happened. And then during the election, the same thing happened. Don't forget, they had to even cancel some election in Indemili South, Indemili North, and because of logistic issue. Now we have come to 2021, the same thing is still happening. Logistics. don't forget, 2019 election at some point was cancelled. Because was it 2019 or yes, 20 was cancelled because of logistics and move a bit further. So these are the challenges INEC need to see how they can perfect that aspect of logistics, which is very, very key in election.
All right. I would like to sincerely appreciate you, Mr. Bukola Idowu, for your time on Panorama on Splash 106.7 Abeokuta this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right.
Bukola
Now
Idowu.
we'll pause. We'll continue the conversation with our next guest, but he joins us via the phone lines as well, and he's no
Moshood
stranger.
Issa, yes, we had him on Friday to do a preview of the election, and he will also join us for this review as well. We just finished with Mr. Bukola Idowu, who is the Executive Director of Impact Development Initiative, and now we hope to be joined by the media officer of Yaga Africa.
But just to give you a bit of, updates or perhaps context to the Anambra election, so far the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Charles Soludo, is leading. That could change, of course, given the results of the Ihiala local government area where the supplementary election is holding tomorrow, because there are about 148,000 registered voters there. But so far, Mr. Soludo has polled a total of 103,946 votes, and he's won the election in 18 out of the 20 local government areas where the election results were declared. His closest rival is the PDP candidate, Valentine Ozigbo, with 51,322 votes. We now have Moshood Issa, I beg your pardon, of Yaga Africa joining us virtually. Good morning, Moshood. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for hosting me.
Okay, let's ask what Yaga's overview of the election was, in light of some of the predictions you gave, some of the concerns you had pre the election, and how it eventually played out. Which of your predictions turned out to be correct, and what was your overall assessment of the gubernatorial polls?
Yeah, so thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. So virtually all our predictions actually came to pass. We raised concerns about issue of logistics. Which played out during the election, where we had a delay in deployment of electoral materials. We also raised concern about capacity gap and technological challenges, which was experienced when INEC deployed the bimodal voter accreditation system in a by-election in Delta State, that is Isoko. We urged INEC to actually try to fix all those capacity gaps and technological gaps. But unfortunately, these actually played out on the election day in Anambra, where in a large number of polling units, there were this technological gap where the beavers failed to accredit a lot of observers, a lot of prospective voters, including even some governorship candidates who had to spend hours waiting to be accredited. As a matter of fact, the first polling unit I visited on election day, the INEC official was even struggling to even log in into the beavers machine, which was a major issue. I think that was why the election was even extended to 4 p.m. on election day.
So let's talk about where you feel that INEC got it wrong, because a lot of the concerns with the election, security that many even expected to be the major challenge, was not even on the front burner at all on that day. But INEC seemed to really drop the ball this time. So where exactly do you think INEC disappointed as regards their conduct of this election?
I think it's always the issue of logistics and then deployment of new technology. This is a new technology they're deploying. Unfortunately, the circumstances where they deployed it in Isoko to test it in Delta State is not necessarily the same. This is because I didn't think INEC did a good feasibility study or a good mapping of entire Anambra State to know which locations would have technological challenges, which network are good in a particular location. They didn't do. I'm not sure they did that effectively, and that's the major issue they had, which is the issue of around regarding technology, which affected the elections. It's technically disenfranchised a lot of people, even though the election was extended. You wouldn't dispute the fact that, or you wouldn't downplay the fact that probably some prospective voters would have gotten frustrated and left the polling unit. And of course, there's issue of new polling units where people are trying to locate their polling unit. I was at the polling unit where a new eligible voter just got her PVC, and then we went to that location and she was told that's not her location, even though the PVC reads that is our voting location. So the issue of new polling units and then technological issue, I think that is the major challenge INEC had on Saturday, which led to extension of the elections.
Were there accommodations made for people with disabilities on that day?
Oh, okay. You're asking if there is if INEC made provisions for people with disability.
Right.
So of course I went to some polling units and I actually saw some people with disability being given priority to old people with disability being given priority to approach the electoral official first to vote. That is what I can categorically speak for at the moment. Though they promised to provide magnifying glass and braille ballots, I cannot confirm that at the moment if they actually did that. But for providing, making it a priority for people with disability to vote first and not to spend longer time on the queue, I think they made a decent effort in trying to achieve that.
Let's talk about vote buying now. Some election observers on the day observed that there were, quite a number of issues around vote buying. Did you observe those? And also, I saw some videos, I saw some pictures online of security officials carrying weapons just around the polling units, which should not be so. Did you think that also affected, the outcome? I mean, people trooping out to vote on the day.
Well, even before now, we have an apprehension about voter turnout, which unfortunately played out. A lot of factors would have contributed to the low voter turnout. And this is first, when people do not feel the impact of governance right from time, they could not connect their political decision or their voting decision to their standard of living. It will affect their turnout. And then, of course, security concerns. The first polling unit I visited, as soon as the security officials arrived there, they started shooting into the air. This could cause apprehension, unfortunately. So, of course, there is a few kilometers where security with arms should be far from polling units. That I think was actually applied. At least on our way to polling units, we do see security with arms. But as soon as you approach the voting areas, the security officials there are without arms. An issue of vote buying, I'm sure other TSOs actually came out to decry the issue of vote buying in some local government in the state. This has been a consistent issue in an election, and unfortunately it actually played out yesterday. And there's also issue of community pollution, where people within the community would either coerce voters in that community to vote for a particular person, which may not probably be their voting choice. So that also played out in some locations where we visited on Saturday.
There were some disruptions that happened in Orumba North, for example, where a coalition officer claimed that he signed result sheets under duress. And in another area, a polling unit officer apparently absconded with about 41 result sheets meant for some of the polling units in that ward. Were these issues satisfactorily resolved by Inec, in your view?
If Inec could come out to announce results from 20 local governments, and then the political party agents actually signed results from those locations, apparently Inec could have satisfactorily resolved that issue to the satisfaction of party agents that signed those results. So that's my own opinion about that. If a party agent could sign the results, it means they are satisfied with that. And if INEC could have announced results from 20 local government areas, they probably could have resolved that satisfactorily. But I'm sure there will still be some certain polling units or certain wards where results where the results were not collated, or where the results were not added to the results are announced at the local government level. If INEC would do that, if INEC would conduct supplementary elections in Ihiala tomorrow, alongside with those polling units, is something I'm yet to confirm.
Speaking of the supplementary election holding tomorrow, Clause 47 of the revised regulations and guidelines for the conduct of election provides that supplementary elections shall be conducted where the commission, due to logistic challenges, is unable to deploy on election day, as we witnessed in Ihiala local government area. However, Section 179, subsection 3, says that such a runoff shall be between the candidate with the highest number of votes and one among the remaining candidates who secured a majority of the votes in the highest number of local government areas in the state. Tomorrow's election will go down between Charles Soludo and which other candidates, to your estimation?
So again, I would need to confirm categorically if the election would go down between the first, the Charles Soludo, and the second, the runner-up, or if it will go down between among all the candidates. Of course, there are conditions for this. If INEC couldn't deploy due to logistic reason to a particular location, a tendency that the supplementary election could likely still go down among all the candidates, since it's a general logistics issue. You cannot coerce voters to or restrict their voting choice between two people. We still await to confirm if that election will go on between just the first two candidates or all the candidates with that participated in the election. I think it will actually be fair to conduct the election among all the candidates.
So before we let you go, what would your recommendation be for INEC going into Osun and Ekiti elections next year?
I think they should do a better feasibility study, better mapping of their technology. These are major elections leading into the 2023 election. And then there's issue of transportation. To be honest, they've always had challenge with National Union of Road Transport Workers. Sometimes they get sabotage. Other times on election day, drivers will come out and say it's either they inflate the prices that were against what was originally agreed, which sometimes hold the commission to ransom. INEC should have a better plan for logistics, especially transporting materials to polling units, and then do better mapping of their technology and network to ensure that there wouldn't be failure of the beavers on election day. And we also urge them to continue to coordinate harmoniously with security agency to ensure that protection of electoral materials, protection of voters, and of course protection of ad hoc staff.
Thank you for speaking with us, Moshood Issa of Yiaga Africa.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
All right, and that concludes our conversation on the Anambra November 6th and 7th gubernatorial polls, which happened on Saturday and was extended to Sunday as well. You can chip in your comments on all that has been said or your observation on the election, particularly even the supplementary elections which are holding tomorrow. Let us know your take on all that has transpired so far since elections began in Anambra State to nominate the next governor. Our WhatsApp line is 0817-555-1067. Facebook is Splash FM 106.7, and you can reach us calling live via the following numbers: 0817 444 1067, 0704 400 1067, and 0704 400 1067. I believe I said that already, so let me add the third number: 0817 555 1067.
Well, incidentally, it looks like the only number working is the 0704 400 1067. Other lines are out of network. We don't know what's happening, but you can try that particular one. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, this is Ola Animashaun.
Please go on. You have the floor.
I like your analysis today, but please, I want to answer my own personal discussion.
Please go on.
Considering the situation at that place, that INEC could conduct election, they deserve an applause. Please. You know what transpired in that place? A lot of adult staff we had over the social media before the time were resigning, were running away, were saying they were not going to come. So there are challenges. Now, some people also on social media, few days and even doing something. I mentioned some prominent names, but I won't do that already. That they call themselves activists. While shouting and claiming INEC was going to rig the election for APC, APC did not even come second. What is wrong with us in this country? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, INEC did say that that didn't happen. That
allegations that
I think we had Festus Okoye on this program.
Yes, the chairman of the voter publicity committee. He said that did not happen.
But like you said, the INEC had challenges. They had their offices burned. They had quite a number of issues. But then, to whom much is given,
much is indeed expected.
And it's just a review of the process itself. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead. What's your name?
Okay. I'd like to recognize my name.
Good morning, Alaji.
I'm calling from Iraka in Olomore.
Go on, Alaji.
I believe this election is a test out of the methodology that I not want to use. I believe now we should go back home and do the need to, as the last speaker said, to mark out at both speakers. To now have the tragedy very well. So, because the machine to be faster and everything to be better. And the reason for those turners, I would say, the issue of IPOP is too late before the IPOP can say that they should go. That is why we find all these problems. Because we know that now the IPOP has do so. I want the government to believe that we are now seeing the party that particularly not here. So the issue of this election is something to be more intensified, not just to determine to get the real party on the ground. That's the solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alhaji,
for
your contribution. 0704 400 1067. That's the only available line this morning. We hope that other lines will come up, but you can drop us a message on WhatsApp and, of course, on Facebook. The WhatsApp line is available on WhatsApp, but I'm sure if you call it, it might not go through, but you can drop us a message on WhatsApp. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Uche.
Yeah, Uche from Abeokuta.
Please go on, Uche.
You see, about the just concluded Anambra governorship election, Anambra governorship election, I don't think Iranic have any excuse whatever to give any excuse about that election. But it was not themselves that say they are ready and they are ready. They deploy so much there that they don't have any reason to give insecurity reasons in any way. They deploy policemen, soldiers, civil defense and the rest. So they have enough and they are ready. That's what they say. If they say that, if they consider that maybe the insecurity situation in Anambra is a challenge to them, they know what they should have done. If they think that maybe the environment there is not well conducive enough to maybe to do the election, or maybe some places they see situation in some places there now is not quite helping. They know what they should have done. They can have excuses of maybe logistics. What is logistics? When police deploy 3 choppers, what will it take to maybe hire a chopper maybe to distribute the electoral materials in areas that they know that maybe they don't have logistics to reach that place, or maybe concerning the situation on ground, or maybe there may be disappointment from the people that they hired. They said all these things they should put into consideration before saying that they are ready. They are ready is what they say. Coming this and that to give a spirit of insecurity, this and that. They should have they should do watching of their mind and maybe the arrangement before coming out to tell people. They said they are ready before, that's what they said, and everybody took them for their word. They are putting a lot into this election. So that's what they said they are ready, and they should give the consent election without giving any complaint.
All right.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Uche. Well, I'm not sure INEC themselves have come out to complain. Really, it was our first caller. I was trying to make a brief for them, and of course, he has a point and a right to his opinion as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am Reverend Zachariah Anambra from Waston.
We always get your message on Facebook, but it's nice and WhatsApp. It's nice to hear your voice this morning.
Thank you. Hello. I just want to have one question concerning ongoing Guba election in Anambra. So far, the INEC is yet to tell us that there are challenges like what we are hearing now. I think we need to wait for the INEC, to tell us that the problems, challenges that we are hearing concerning this global election, because I don't want to hear that those things, such things are happening, because we're supposed to have grown such bad things as we are pushing general election. That is what I want to say.
Right. Thank you, Reverend Zachariah Taningbola, for your contribution. But we don't necessarily need to wait for INEC. I mean, voters themselves have expressed to the media and journalists some of the challenges they face, particularly with the BVAS, that's the bimodal voters accreditation system, which INEC is test running on this scale for the first time. Election observers and monitors as well have also flagged some of the challenges with the card readers as well as the BVAS. So we don't necessarily need to wait for INEC to give a verdict. From all that has been reported on the election, it appears that logistics and technical glitches with BVAS was a huge problem with the election. But if you want to drop us a comment on WhatsApp, our WhatsApp line is 0817-555-1067. Ordinarily, you should be able to call that number, but today that number is out of order for now. So just send a WhatsApp comment there.
And to also add to what Lola said, the 2 people we spoke to were actually on the ground for the election. So they also observed what transpired on Saturday. Hello, good morning.
Oh, apologies. Do well and call us back if you can. Facebook is Splash FM 106.7. On Facebook, Adebode Alade Johnson. Good morning to you as well. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a point. Yeah.
Now, your name again?
Caller.
Okay, please go on.
Now, the angle, the main reason why I said that was those who were making allegations accusing INEC of rigging. That's the major point. In fact, I expected that APC candidates will be the first, considering what they posted on their wall few days back. While the election was going on, they were telling people, instigating Anambrarians, that INEC was going to rig for APC, APC did not even come second. Why are Nigerians like this? Why do we behave like this? Now there's a place election is not wasn't okay there.
091411190 tàbí 09125242235.
ṣọmọ bọ́ọ̀lù gbogbo tó bá jẹ níbi tó wù ẹ́ káàkiri nàìjà tó bá ta tó bá ti jẹ nílé iṣẹ́ Golden Chance Lotto ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ti sún bó ṣe ń lọ là ń tẹ̀lé o nílé iṣẹ́ Golden Chance Lotto.
ìrọ̀rùn ekun ìrọ̀rùn ayé lọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún bá dé o fún gbogbo oníbàárà tí ń ta Golden Chance Lotto tó bá tayọ Golden Chance Lotto tó jẹ kò síbi tó ti lè gbowó rẹ̀ jákèjádò Nàìjíríà kò pọn dandan pé ọ̀dọ̀ agent nìkan ló ti lè gbowó tó bá jẹ o lè gbowó lọ́dọ̀ sub agent tàbí ní payment center Golden Chance Lotto tó bá súnmọ́ o lè tayọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kọ́ wá gbowó rẹ̀ l'Àbújá bó sì wọ̀ o lè pé kí wọ́n bọ́ sán sínú àkáǹtì rẹ̀ directly o sì lè lo kóòdù wọn láti ta àti láti gbowó tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì rẹ̀ ní dáhùn gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ o sì lè kàn sí alórí wẹ́bsáìtì wa o
www.goldenchancelotto.com
sanwó yá tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì ta kó o jẹ gbowó ẹ̀ Golden Chance Lotto ọ̀nà tó yá láti di mílíọ̀nìà láì jalè.
bó ṣe ń lọ là ń tẹ̀lé o nílé iṣẹ́ Golden Chance Lotto.
Listen up. The administration of His Excellency Prince Dapo Abiodun, in his magnanimity, has come up with a special arrangement to pardon those that have erected structures on government land in an ongoing ratification program called Property Registration Program. Listen to the following areas:
Ládẹrin, Ìkẹrẹ̀kú Olókùta, Ìjẹun Lúkọ̀sí, Abúlé Òkò, Agúnrẹ́tì.
Àṣẹ̀ṣe, Mòwe, Ìbàfò, Orímẹ́rùnmú, Màgbòrákẹ́ran, Makogi, Ṣèfíùṣọ̀tẹ̀, Olówótẹ̀dó.
Ayétòrò, Lúkọ̀sí, Sèídù, Ògìjó, Ìlara, Àgùntóyè, Ṣìmáwá.
And Ìlaro LUD.
Residents living in these areas are advised to contact Ogun State Land Administration Revenue Management System, OLAMS, for immediate ratification of their property and processing of their CFO to avoid unnecessary worries in future. Log on to www.olams.ogunstate.gov.ng or send an email to olams@ogunstate.gov.ng or call the OLAMS team on 0700 111 9999.
Ogun State Land Administration and Revenue Management System, OLAMS, creating wealth from land.
Àlàáfíà lóògùn ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ní ìṣòro kan tàbí èkejì nínú ara oríṣiríṣi egbògi láti lò àmọ́ tí kò sí ìyàtọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ọ̀pọ̀ ti jẹ nǹkan tó dùn lápọ̀jù èyí tó fa àkọlùkọgbà nínú ara lójú nọ́kọ̀lẹ́wòrán ti hurun egbògi tá a pè rẹ̀ Chapman Ababita egbògi tí wọ́n fi omi ṣe èyí tọkùnrin àtobìnrin lè lò Chapman Ababita ṣetán tí yóò já gbogbo jẹ̀gẹ̀jẹ̀gẹ̀ ara dànù lọ́gán lára bá yá yágíyágí Chapman Ababita kànàkànà máa já tòun tòun pẹ̀lú àgbékalẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ olúwalúọpẹ́ tradu medical center NAFDAC fòǹtẹ̀lù omi pọ́nbélé ni wọ́n fi ṣe ẹ̀dá Chapman Ababita ò lónìí láti jẹ́ alágbàtà tàbí kó lọ́pọ̀ yanturu ẹ pè sórí aago 081 70 02 6620 081 70 02 6620 Chapman Ababita olúwalúọpẹ́ tradu medical center ló ń ṣe é.
Makole Marale.
Kẹ̀rẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ ìgbà máa yí lọ. Àgbájọ Homes and Property Nigeria Limited ló ní ìdá 50% làwọn yóò fi lo ìgbà pẹ̀lú àwọn oníbàárà wọn. Tẹ́sí tó láǹfààní sí dọ́kúmẹ̀ntì yín ilẹ̀ Randa, High Level, Ìkìrìkú Ìdán, Ọ̀yá Dam, Precious Estate. Àwọn ilẹ̀ yìí 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀. Báyìí 100,000 lẹ́sàn. Ọ̀dẹ́dá Unique Garden 300,000 ní 150,000 ní báyìí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko wọn. Ọ̀pẹ́jì, Alábàtà, Òṣìẹ̀lẹ̀ àti Kọ̀bápẹ́ 60,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀. Báyìí 30,000 lẹ́sàn. Ilẹ̀ oko orílẹ̀ ìlógún àti mọ́lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ 50,000 ní 25,000 lẹ́sàn báyìí pẹ̀lú àǹfààní sí dọ́kúmẹ̀ntì yín. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ra àwọn ilẹ̀ oko wọ̀nyí ó bá jẹ́ plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́ta lẹ́ra ẹ láǹfààní sí ìdajì sí. Bó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gbọ́ odidi sí 39 NTA Road Ọ̀gbẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 ọjọ́ kẹwàá oṣù kọkànlá láǹfààní yóò pè.
Makole Marale.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ìjọ Nuru Sanadatullah Islamic Organization Prayer Healing Center and Quranic Training ń pe gbogbo èèyàn láti wá jàǹfààní àdúrà ọlọ́dọọdún ọlọ́sẹ̀ méje tó máa ń wáyé ní ẹ̀kan lọ́dún ní Kemta Housing Estate Ìdíàbà Abẹ́òkúta. Àkànṣe àdúrà ọdún yìí yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní on the 14th of November títí lọ di on the 26th of December ọdún yìí. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti agogo 8 àbọ̀ òwúrọ̀ títí lọ di agogo 11 àbọ̀ òwúrọ̀ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Sunday níbi tí ìdè pẹ̀lú onírúurú ìṣòro yóò ti máa di ohun ìgbàgbé nínú ayé rẹ̀ àti ẹ̀. Ẹ pàdé bàbá wa Sheikh Alifadilat Muhammad Said Muhammad Muhammadu Mustapha Adéyẹmí Aliyamoye Jagaban ìràwọ̀ àgbáyé 1 fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ pè sórí nọ́mbà yìí 09131294976 àdúrà ń gbà má fi gbàgbọ́ rẹ dọ́là dansa.
A wonderful morning starts with integrity. The integrity starts with you.
Splash FM 106.7.
We educate. That's why we are respected. We inform. That's why we are loved. More music. We are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash.
106.7.
Welcome back to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Thank you for staying with us. We did a preview, or a review rather, of the Anambra election. Charles Soludo is in the lead. Professor Charles Soludo, former CBN governor, is in the lead, and followed by the PDP, Valentine Ozigbo, and the APC with Andy Uba.
Well, let me just add that your dark horse is nowhere to be found.
Ifeanyi Uba, well, it's fourth, so that should count for something.
Maybe. Nicholas on WhatsApp says Christ had a lot of followers, but only 11 men voted to replace Judas. Voter apathy is not a new phenomenon. All right, thank you, Nicholas, for your contribution.
Part of the questions asked on social media over the weekend as well, if you recall the APC primaries in Anambra State that produced Andy Uba, over 200,000 people voted for Andy Uba to become the flag bearer and the eventual candidate of the APC. And people started asking, where are those 260,000 people or thereabouts who voted for Andy Uba at the primary level?
The math is not math. It's not mathing.
It's not. The math doesn't just, work out at all. But I have with me here the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
I have Nigerian Tribune.
Let's start, of course, the major headline this morning is about the Anambra election. Anambra Soludo Ozigbo Uba's fate hang on Iyala. With the rider, Inec postpones election in Iyala with 148,407 registered voters to 13th November. Soludo leads, wins 17 councils. Fear of election being inconclusive looms. Well, that has happened already. YPP wins Newi North. Madakos. PDP wins Ogbaru as APC records nil. I signed Orumba North results under duress. Collation officer 41 Idemili South result sheets recarted away. Collation officer, we observed widespread incidences of vote buying, CDD. Police Yaga commend voters' enthusiasm, resilience. Well, we already dwelt on the Anambra election, but maybe we'll touch on it with our guest briefly. But then let's move on. ASU panel clears Pantami, Futo on appointment as professor. We have lost 800 teachers in Northeast. That's according to the NUT. PDP will explore other funding sources, IU, and allowances 2 weeks after government yet to pay 22.1 billion naira. Varsity fees, Ondo PDP parents tackle Akeredolu over 120% hike. Ikoyi building collapse, rescue operations 99% complete, death toll hits 44. Restructuring will end bad leadership in Nigeria. Arewa youths, how 2 schoolgirls kidnapped in Ogun escaped to Oyo. Don't sweep invasion of Justice Odili's house under carpet. Niger Delta agitators urge federal government. Military intervention not enough to solve security challenges. U.S. consulates others. These are the headlines on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper today.
From Nigerian Tribune, of course, Anambra poll is the lead story. Soludo's APGA wins 18 local government areas out of 20 declared by Inec. It reads, while YPP, PDP win 1 each. Hundreds displaced, properties lost as ocean surge sacks Delta and Ondo communities. We're seeing the real-time effect of climate change and global warming here. Kidnapping, pro-chancellors, VCs seek deployment of special squad to varsities. A survivor recounts how 22 of my colleagues went down with Ikoyi building collapse. Death toll rises to 43. Nigerian Tribune reports chartered architects demand triple-level probe. ASU tells federal government and states to stop turning establishment of universities into constituency projects. NDLEA arrests notorious drug dealer allegedly behind London-bound multiple consignments. Intercepts cocaine, meth, en route UK, 261 kilograms illicit substances in 3 states. Banks, there's this other headline from Akere Dolu who says, Ondo not missing soldiers at checkpoints since withdrawal. 5 kidnapped, Baptist worshippers shot, 2 dead, 3 on life support, says Baptist Convention President. Sarap wants court to stop Buhari from spending 26 billion naira on travels, meals and others. As it says, proposed allocation is more than the budget for 14 teaching hospitals. There's a special report from Nigerian Tribune. Despite 13 trillion naira spent in 22 years, it's 25 watts of electricity to each Nigerian. And that about covers the stories on the front page of Nigerian Tribune.
And to join us for this segment of the program for analysis is Ola Animashaun. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. It's nice being here.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us.
To be with you guys.
All right, let's start with the Anambra election, just briefly, as we touched on that extensively during the first segment of the show. What's your own assessment of the conduct of the election on Saturday?
Well, my assessment will not be different from what we've had. I was not on the ground, but we have people there. It's not different from what we've had from the situation room, from the security, from the political parties, from even the Inec people. It's a potpourri, but we have to give it to Inec at least that they were able to do it with the support of the governmental apparatus. It wasn't supposed to be an easy task. We all knew that. But given the downfall on the part of Inec, I call it downfall because I expected that they will have upped their games before this election, particularly as per their machines. Security was not in their purview, and whatever any political party does is not something that they could easily control. And even the coming out of the people as well is not within their purview. But what they had to do with the machine principally stops on their table, and I expected that they will have done the best necessary before now. But thank God that we have a Kitty and Oshun still coming up. They had Testronic before in Nefipo, and I thought they would be able to do something better with it now. I expected that in due course they would do a lot of reviews of whatever happened in Anambra as per the machines, and come up with something better for the subsequent elections before 2023. But concerning the issue of IPOB, we can't just gloss over it. Good enough that IPOB said they are withdrawing their agitation in the interim for people to go out and all the rest. But the fear of IPOB obviously was and is still the beginning of wisdom as far as Anambra election is concerned. At least we're still going to have another one by 13th. The logistic has been variously analyzed. Obviously, it still has to do with IPOB, apart from the perennial issue with INEC on the issue of logistic. The fear of IPOB played out. The coming out of people, it played out. And if you recall, there was an audio that came out from IPOB before the election, about a week before the election, that are threatening the hoteliers that they should send people in their hotels out before the election and they should not engage others in coming in 4 days to the election. And whoever does that will have himself to blame after the election. That is still there as well. And you look at the people of Ihiala, perhaps it's a hotbed of IPOB. I wouldn't know what happened there, that they refused to let people come in to conduct election. There are over 140,000. That's a lot. And you can't afford to disenfranchise people just like that. Thank God that INEC had resolved to have a follow-up election on Saturday 13th, and I hope something worthwhile will be done. After all, the whole security apparatus there will be deployed to make sure it becomes a reality. But the long and short of it is that INEC had to do the needful. The government have to do the needful. The people must wake up to their own civic responsibility to know that they just have to do this. And IPOB, I hope cooperatively will continue to be there to make sure that the election is done. That's just as far as I can see.
All right, let's look at another story that took center stage before the Anambra election usurped its place, and that's the Ikoyi building collapse. The Association of Nigerian Chartered Architects, ANCA, on Sunday advocated for 3 independent political, technical, and judicial panels to unravel the root cause of the collapse. While they commended the governor of Lagos for promptly setting up a probe panel to douse the spontaneous tension with a 30-day deadline, they, however, say that they have the view that the magnitude and very wide implications of the incident demand and warrant a 3-legged probe should be envisaged. First off, are you confident of the veracity perhaps of even this probe, or this probe leading anywhere, the one that was first instituted? Because I mean, probes pretty much serve as a death knell for many cases in Nigeria. That's the last we ever hear of it. Are you confident that this probe will unravel anything?
Even if you have a dozen probes on this collapse structure at Gerard Road Ikoyi, or any other one for that matter, not even the political, technical, whatever they call it, the judicial probe, it will come to nothing, with all apologies. We've sent probes in this country. What have you made of it? It's one thing to go on to say you want to probe a situation. It's another thing to make effective use of the byproduct of the probe. What has come of the probes subsequently before this? Are we still not having building collapses? Even after the one at Gerard, another one happened somewhere close by at Aja or somewhere. Some days, 2 days, 3 days after that. You know, it's not just a matter of the probe. It is what we make of it. Quite unfortunate that that building had to collapse. A lot of things has been analyzed to have come into play. It could be substandard product. It could be the inspectorate. It could be refusal to comply. It could have even been the soil itself, the land on which the project was put. I mean, we know the terrain of Ikoyi. It's more or less on water. It's underwater, so to say. So what do you expect? Of course, we know the Oyinbos, they do even build houses on water. I know Netherlands are very smart at this, the engineers. But when you want to build on such a soil, there are ways that they make the foundation to withstand the tendencies of collapse. So it's quite unfortunate. It's heart-wrenching that such a thing happened there, and it consumed almost everyone in that structure. But what do we make of it? What do we learn from it? The people from the ministries, the approval agencies, the architects, the engineers, the structural people, and the owners. We know we are all Nigerians. And even the contractors, apart from all these ones, even petty contractors, you can't trust anybody again in Nigeria. You are the owner of the house, they told you are going to use 10 bags. And you just look at it and say, you can use 5 bags for this thing now. Then you want to bypass because of the cost implication. It's even fair enough for a bungalow. But for a high rise, you know the hazards involved. And for some contractors, not even the big time ones that come in, the Oyinbos, we don't have to look at the Oyinbos and say because they are white-skinned, they will do the best bet for us and blah, 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 blah. But what if they compromised because of what they're going to get? And there are local contractors that will even say, okay, you said 10 cement, that's what they want to use for this thing. And they will use 5 for you and bring empty bags from somewhere to tell you that they had used your 10 bags for you. Things go on. And we just have to open up seriously to synergize. Think seriously about safety. Safety first. Imagine if that project were to have been completed and it's already been inhabited. Imagine the numbers of souls that will be lost, the lives that will be lost there. That's the hazards we are talking about.
Let's talk about the expansion of Lagos, especially that axis, Lekki, Aja, and the likes. We all know, like you mentioned, what the terrain is like. Is it a genuine source of concern on the expansion of that part of Lagos, especially, and the tendency of Nigerians to want to short-circuit the system, cut corners and what have you? Is there a genuine source of concern there?
It's a genuine source of concern, but we know one thing in particular. Lagos can only develop vertically. Lagos is almost out of land. You cannot go horizontal like Ogun State. So they are going vertical. And any place that has such a challenge will always go vertical. Here's the terrain. If you match your development, your structural work with the terrain, there is no fear of collapse. It is only when you don't match it with the terrain that you have this kind of a thing developing. If the approving agency does not do the needful, it will come to be like this. Nigerians will always cut corners, like you're trying to say. It may not be all of us, some of us, or sometimes it could be most of us. But the challenge there is, how do we checkmate each other towards avoiding this kind of calamity? Lagos has no land space, like you said. It's inevitable that those who feel they have the capacity will want to expand to places like Lekki, Aja, Terrain, and Ikoyi, or Victoria Island, and all the rest. Perhaps because all the while we've not had so much of high-rise building up to that level. And perhaps because people have been restricted to whatever they have been approved on to build. We've had controversies about 8, 16, 20, 21. Maybe after the pro panel, we'll know exactly what was approved for that place. But where you have to go beyond what has been approved for you, what do you expect? It's not as if there are no high-rise buildings in Ikoyi or Victoria Island or Lekki Aja. But if it's on a solid foundation, it will survive. If it's built on a marshy land and you meet up with your structural designs, it will survive it. But where you have to cut corners, like you're trying to say, it's quite unfortunate.
Well, another area that perhaps we may be overlooking is these areas of residence are coastal areas, Lekki, VGC, for example. And that may be directly or indirectly related to this story where properties worth millions of naira were on Sunday lost to ocean incursion at the coastal line constrained community of Ugborodo in Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State. Now, these locations in Lagos, particularly land in Lagos, is considered to be prime real estate, due to the cost. And so we're seeing developers even sandbagging coastal areas, but then they pay for it during the rainy season. This year, we've seen massive flooding in these, elite or urban areas. What does this mean for Lagos and, this looming overpopulation of the state?
Property situation is not even limited to Lagos. There is value in property development. But because Lagos is a catchment, so to say, everybody wants to be in Lagos, and you want to be in a highbrow area, particularly when you have arrived.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, quite expensive. That's the nature of properties, particularly when it's the sophisticated type. It will always be like that. The prices will always go up. So whoever has the capacity and the money as a real estate developer will want to go there because he knows he will recoup his money within a short period of time, no matter how long. So it's an attraction. But quite unfortunate that this weak point is the issue. Not being able to meet up with the land situation, the terrain that has always... You are talking of tsunami and the tendency is still there in Lagos. Whatever happened the other time that you come up with the issue, the name of tsunami. If you watch the video of tsunami when it happened in the early 2000s, I suppose, you will know that that thing is not respected of anybody. The upsurge will just come and consume everything in the coastline.
And is the Lagos state government prepared for this?
That I don't know. It's for them to now come up and explain further after the so-called investigations and inquiry, and the committee setup will have concluded their job. The Lagos state government still have to come out to tell us, yes, it's inevitable. They can't do without developing in Lagos. They can't do without using the coastal areas, but they have to observe the safety principle first. and they have to come up to tell us how far, how safe Lagos coastal line is for development. And look at Banana Island now. It's a reclaimed land. There are so many reclaimed areas in Lagos, pumping sand into from somewhere into another place to make a foundation for structural development. Yes, it's not impossible. It's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. But to what extent? What about the fear of the unknown? How safe is everybody? I hope we will not be consumed by water at the end of the day.
There's a story here, the Punch newspaper, building collapse, victims compensation on shore as NIA searches for insurer. And that story is there. And according to the National Insurance Commission, the regulatory body of the industry, 44 companies comprising of 13 composite and 31 general underwriters can underwrite building insurance. So the chairman NIA, Mr. Ganiu Musa, while speaking, said the underwriters decided to embark on inquiry after waiting for days with no one coming forward to notify them of any form of insurance compensation, which is also another challenge that we have.
We know generally in Nigeria, most of us don't trust the insurance networking, insurance policies. And I think insurers have tried as much as possible to convince us on this. And on this building situation, I'm not sure, just like the insurance people are saying already, that they cannot compensate everybody. Some are not insured, some are this and that. With the exception of what Lagos State Governor has said, that they will give some monetary compensation to those who are still alive and going through this, and those who want to bury their people, if they are interested, they will give their assistance and all the rest. Nobody is talking about the insurance. Nobody. The developers have to come up to ask the insurance people, how far, how safe are we? But the insurance company also have to come out to make sure people trust them. The element of trust is the problem with insurance in Nigeria. The ordinary third-party insurance, when your vehicle has accident, you might not be able to get anything. Not to even talk of those who have comprehensive insurance policy. And even when you are able to push it, there will always be one hiccup or the other. And you might not even get it on time. But the insurance will tell you, it's because you did not read this, you didn't do that. If you take an insurance policy, look at the flip side. You see all those letterings, very, very small letterings that you will not be interested in. That's where the insurance people hide. And not only insurance anyway, even some other products like that. That's where they hide. And when you have damages to claim, you have a problem claiming it because you are unable to go beyond reasonable doubt to fulfill all the necessary obligations.
Another story here, Vanguard newspaper, restructuring will end bad leadership in Nigeria. Arewa youths with the rider saying no support for candidates over 50 years in 2023. Back referendum for secessionists. And the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum has said only restructuring can save Nigeria from bad leadership. The youth group said come 2023, it will not support any candidate above 50 years during the general elections. Do you see that as possible?
There is no doubt about it. We have all been talking about it. Almost all Nigerians are talking about real restructuring, real federation, true fiscal federalism, resource control, and all whatnot. So I think is the way to go. Assuming that there is true federalism at play, I don't think IPOB will be rearing their head and saying they want to separate, they want a separatist agenda to be in place. I don't think there will be Odua agitation and all those stuffs. Basically, if you have good leadership that is interested in Nigeria as its constituency, definitely things will fall in place. Where every constituent state are able to generate their own resources and pay royalty, things will fall in place appropriately. Everything will go pari passu, provided whoever is saddled with responsibility at the segmental level do their own aspect as expected, and provided the people also are not sleeping. They wake up on a continuous basis to know that this governance is a joint assignment. You don't just leave it to them to do it. But as per the age factor, I won't subscribe to that. That anybody after democracy does not preclude anybody. It's an all-common affair. As long as you have been accepted by the people, you might be 80 years old. After all, Joe Biden is close to 80 or something like that. So it's not about the age. It's what you can do with the assignment that has been given to you, the power that has been given to you. The one thing is to
By Sarap seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel President Buhari to cut the 26 billion naira presidency budget on local and foreign travels, meals and refreshment, and to send a supplementary appropriation bill to the National Assembly to reflect the reduction. Sarap is also seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel the president to publish spending details on the State House Medical Center since 29th May 2015 to date, and to redirect some of the money on travels and meals to improve public health care facilities across the country. According to reports, the proposed 26 billion naira on travels, meals, refreshments, and the presidential wing of the State House Clinic is more than the proposed allowance for the ongoing and new projects in 14 teaching hospitals combined. What do you make of this, Ola Animashaun?
I hope Serap will get through with this. I hope it will not be dead on arrival. I hope they come through with it and it becomes a reality. If you listen to Michelle Obama on a video while they were there, the food they ate in White House, they paid for it. So what is it about our system where those that we asked to do the assignment have to live unnecessarily on our resources? The President Muhammadu Buhari promised us that the fleet of aircraft will be reduced. There are too many as presidential fleet. What comes out of it? Nothing. The budgetary allocation for the State House is almost recycled day in, day out. The spoons, the cutleries will be recycled. The food, the fuel, the travel expenses, everything. And you wonder, is it that the spoons get spoiled every year? I can't remember. Anyway, my wife will know when she replaces the cutleries in the house. How many times do you have to replace cutleries? Does it get infected? They can boil it. There's a percentage they boil it. They have things they use there if we want to avoid infection. So what is it about replacements of cutleries, the feeding, the traveling, the retinue of aids? These are the things that are eaten into our resources that we are unable to move onto real capital ventures. We spend more on unnecessarily current expenditures, and it's not the best for our economy. I hope one day we'll get a president that will wake up and look at it and say, we have to do the needful to rescue Nigeria.
Let's get to the phone lines now. Let's make you a part of the conversation now. Let's see if all of the lines are back now. We still have just one line, 0704 400 1067.
But our social media handle is 08175551067 for WhatsApp, and Facebook is Splash FM 106.7.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yeah, Kola speaking. On the issue of the youth of Nigerian is taking over government, I think with what I have seen so far, I may be forced to say the old school will still continue to run longer with what I have seen in the youth. You know the reason? The youth of Nigeria have misplaced priorities. When they want to, if you don't want to fight, you will lose your own. If you don't know how to face, if you don't know how to face your enemy, in fact, when you go to a judge, being said in the law court, a good face, if you don't know how to present, if you don't know how to give evidences, you lose. Now these youth just get angry and talk on social media and do something. When they said in the last election, some people said, let all the youths, all the other political parties, apart from the main one, come together and have a consensus candidate. Are you getting it? These people shouting revolution now, this one shouting this other lady also that was there. All of them are upset. You know what? It is not me. It cannot be anybody. So they are happy. Are you getting it? Imagine if all the opposition party apart from APC and PDP, all the opposition party and the youth came together under one fold and choose one consensus candidate. You see how effective it's going to be? None of them coordinate. These are the people that after the elections, their party suspended them from misappropriation and malappropriation of election points that were related to them. People that cannot have control, that cannot give account of election money, are the ones that want to control all money. This is what we need to control. Fine. Then on the issue of feeding in the presidency, I think even under GED, remember that day on radio was saying that, listen to him, he said he did the same thing as people criticized. He budgeted a very huge amount of money. I don't know upon now, but he said he's not the one. He's not the one that's going to eat all the food. So it's the Nigerian way of doing things. It's a waste. And I pray God will help us. But as for the youth, the way we put our priorities is wrong. And the whole school will continue like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kola, for your contribution. You too can be a part of the program. Just dial the studio line 0704-400-1067. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning. This is your calling from car.
Please go on.
Yeah. This Nigerian, you just see something happening in this Nigeria. But one thing about
your radio set is on. You might need to turn it off so that we can have a smooth conversation.
Okay. Nigerian youth, they are really trying. But then, now, they are not trying now. Because if you look at outside, now, because many girls now, they are turning into something. Yahoo guys, they are turning into something. But because our government is turning these people to laziness. Because our youth, before, they are very agile. Go outside. Men say girls is outside. Nobody can apply for it. Since boys is outside, nobody apply for it anymore. Because of what? The youth, they are not ready for anything to work for salary anymore. Quick money. Because this thing is very rampant now. Thank you and good morning.
Morning. Are you a first-time caller? Oh, man. Oh, okay. All right. We have the phone line still ringing.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much for calling back. You see, I want to go straight to that Ikoyi building collapse. You see, this is a very straight case. To me, it doesn't require setting up of any panel. The people that need to face the rods, they know themselves. In the first place, that building was approved for 15-story building, and it was extended to 21. The people that approved, the agencies that approved that site for 15-story building, where are they looking at when that building was extended to 21? Does it mean that they approved 15 and they walk away? They are not monitoring the site. They don't have people, workers that are monitoring the site. They just approve 15 and they walk away. And that place was skyrocketed to 15. Does it mean that that very building was invisible, that it could not be dictated? I don't understand how people reason and how we do things. When we say a very straight case, that you know the people that you're supposed to drill, to teach others the lesson. And we'll be running around the bush, promoting the case, and a panel. Those people that are supposed to be that they're supposed to be in detention for the moment. Then the gravity of what I've done. We are talking about human lives. People that went to that place to work, not to go and steal, not to go and commit immorality. People that went to that place to work to sustain the living, and they were somehow caught dead accidentally because of our own, maybe how would I explain it? I don't understand. Mischievous character, negligence, and all the rest. You approve a particular site for 15 stories, presented in 21, and people are still looking at it. Work is still ongoing. What panel do you need to set up that, for Christ's sake? This is
Thank
very
you.
wrong.
Thank you very much, Uche, for your contribution. This particular issue of the Ikoyi collapse is one that saddens everyone. And it's like Uche has pointed out, it's really sad that
sad, really.
But let's check out another story before we get to the comments and the phone lines.
How I wish the owner of that property is still alive. But he would have been more useful, instrumental in this panel if he would have been willing to cooperate with them. Quite unfortunate. We need to really get to the root of this problem.
2023, we are working on Igbo presidency. That's according to IM. Says task achievable if approached collectively. With the body language and what have you, swagger and the likes, you know. Do you see an Igbo presidency in 2023?
And perhaps what
that's me putting you on the spot.
I
am not an oracle.
Which candidates, if you see an Igbo presidency, which perhaps
I am not an oracle at that. I doubt. Well, with apologies to our Igbo listeners and people, I doubt it. It doesn't seem. The signals doesn't seem to be in their favor.
Why is that?
It appears the powers that be. You see, we see smokes. We see smokes as people. The powers that be. I've always been saying that there are people who are owners of Nigeria. We appear to be tenants in this country. The powers that be does not seem to favor them. It does not look like that. I will be surprised and I will be highly impressed and happy if it can happen that we have an Igbo presidency come 2023. But I have my reservations. I really have my reservations.
All right.
Even as of now, down southwest here, I'm still having my reservations, not to talk of the east. It will play out. The whole thing is still very fluid.
Yes.
But I have my reservations. I'm still looking at a return of Hausa Fulani hegemony. Seriously. Right. Not necessarily Buhari. Not necessarily Buhari. That's my fear.
0704-400-1067 is the phone line available. WhatsApp is 0817-555-1067. On Facebook, Engineer Tayo Adiniro said, well done once again, people in the studio. On the building collapse in Ikoyi, Lagos, please, who are they compensating? Is it those that lost their lives untimely or the injured ones? If it's those that have gone, can they bring their life back? Let's pray. The way people lose their life in Nigeria, this is high time to move closer to our creator. Thank you very much, Engineer Tayo Adeniran from Kuto, Abeokuta. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning. This is Mawashin from Kuto.
From Kuto?
Yeah.
Please go on.
The issue I want to point a light on is the building that collapsed at Ikoyi. I think if truly we have a functioning government system, it is the high time, because for the governor to come out and say he has proved the building to be 15-story building, and at the end of the day we found out that the building was 21-story building. I think if truly we have a functioning government system, there's nothing to stop the governor from tendering his own resignation letter that is incompetent to rule the state. Because you can't tell me you approve something for 15-story building and up to the extent that it's above 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 2021. And there's no monitoring team. You yourself, you don't just go there and okay, I am the one that approved this thing. At what stage is this project on? You don't monitor, you don't do anything. At the end of the day, you cannot tell me that you want to set up a panel. This country is not doing anything. If we have to say the truth, and for the youth, one thing I see about with the youth presently is that all of us just want to be the head. Nobody is willing to advance. We want to be the help. That is why you see the IPOP will say, this is what we want. Your Nation will say, this is what we want. The other one will say, this is what we want. We want to be the slave. Everybody just wants to be the top. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Babatunde, for your contribution. We missed this story earlier. Police protest in Anambra over delayed allowances.
Delayed protest.
29,000 personnel paid. Few remaining delayed by due process. Well, I wanted to say that the police has told us that protests can go awry and we shouldn't protest. So why are the protests?
We've heard about the military, which is awkward and unexpected, protesting, at least in the northeast region at the war front. We've heard about protesting about their welfare and their packages. And if we hear about the police, it's not surprising as well. It's just that it's quite unexpected because they are the ones that will not let you do your protest, even though
in their details.
And I hope the clerical mistakes will be sorted out on time because we can't do without the police.
Hope so too. The number to call is 0704 400 1067. I apologize, that's the only number that we can be reached on at this moment. But if you'd like to send a WhatsApp message, send it to 0817 555 1067. We've taken a number of stories. Ola Animashaun has analyzed some of them. And now it's time for your reaction. Our Facebook handle is Splash FM 106.7.
Let me quickly say something to the youth. I'm no longer in that category. And to the elite, I'm a very young man. To the elite on one side and to the youth on the other. Don't let us be paper tigers or what I would call social media warriors. It's easier to sit down in one corner and start firing on social media and saying this. But Nigeria politics goes beyond that. That is why it appears as if the Northern Belt seems to understand this political game more than us. Because they are always on the ground to thumbprint. Whether you say they are underage, overage, or whatever, they're always there. But most of us don't even have the voter's card in the first instance. But we will be the one to shout most in the social media, anywhere, on radio stations. But we don't have it. Even those that have it, they don't go out to vote on election days. I am an election observer. I know what I'm saying. They don't even go out to vote on election day. When you go out on the street on the election day, you see the categories of people you see there. Most of the elites are not there. They are home, making phone calls, analysis, drinking coffee, crossing their legs, watching the TV, listening to radio on what is going on. They are the ones that speak most, but they don't go out to do the necessary thing, thumbprint. And so I appeal to the youths. Don't let us just complain. Let us go and get the voter's card. The time is still there before 23. Get the voter's card and make sure you do the needful according to your conscience, not according to whoever is able to buy you over unnecessarily, and the elites as well. I hope we go away from being armchair critics and be an on-the-field soldier of democracy to make sure it works the way we want it for Nigeria.
All right. Advice noted. From a youth at heart to a youth by age.
This story from Vanguard is an interesting one. We ran for hours. 2 schoolgirls kidnapped in Ogun escaped to Oyo. And it tells the story of how 2 students of Odewale Community High School, Ojunri Agbado, in Ogun State, kidnapped on Friday on their way to school, have narrated how they escaped from the den of kidnappers and found themselves in Oyo town in Oyo State. Well, apparently they were lucky enough to free the ropes they were tied with, after which they ran and then found they were somewhere in Oyo. Well, that's very fortunate of them.
That's a lucky escape. I don't know how they made it to that distance from Ojunri Agbado, Ogun State. They were not even in the fringes of Ogun State towards Oyo. Well, I can't explain how it happened, but I thank God for them, and it's quite a lucky one. I hope the perpetrators will be, arrested, will be apprehended after the necessary debriefing by the appropriate authorities.
All right, another story here before we say our buys this morning. And academic allowances 2 weeks after government yet to pay 22.1 billion naira as ASU Sanu NASU meets. Well, we might be seeing another strike looming.
It's so unfortunate, Gwega, that there will be an agreement. There will be a memorandum of understanding between the unions and the government. And at the end of the day, somebody will renege. Mostly the government reneges on the agreement reached. And how do you avoid strike action in this instance? Because these people also have family. Not only are they looking for their own welfare, they have to take care of the institutions they are working in to make sure that they impart appropriate knowledge to the future leaders, where you are denying them the opportunities to earn the legitimate living that they deserve. And you've had an agreement with them on how to go about it. I don't know why the government have to continuously renege. Even if there is a challenge, there is a problem, why not just ask them to come over? Please, we have some problems. Could you please give us some breathing space on this arrangement? Let's go over the ideas and think of what else we can do in the interim. that would be more appropriate than just keeping quiet, sometimes not acknowledging the letters written to the effect that you are not fulfilling the promise. It happens not only by the federal government, the state governments as well, even in Ogun State. So I hope the governmental side will always do the needful when an arrangement, an agreement has been reached with the various unions and associations to make sure that we don't have a kind of breakdown in the scheme of things.
All right.
Okay. Well, that.
Let's see if we can sneak in one or two more calls.
Speaking of sneaking in, we have a comment that has snuck in from Olajuel from Italshin. He says, an accident happened in Sierra Leone where lives were lost.
Petroleum.
A lot of world leaders sent their condolences. Here in Nigeria, a lot of lives have been lost and are still being lost, yet we are not getting any condolence. Why? This is because Nigeria, as it is a slaughter field that even the world leaders are tired of sending condolences. May God help us.
I don't know what to say about that.
I mean,
the world leaders,
is he lying?
Are we talking about conspiracy? I don't know, but it's quite unfortunate
he's saying
that
the death of people from unfortunate
every life matters.
They become so normalized because they happen so recurrently that world leaders.
So it's like they just assume that what's going on with these guys, just let them sort they are on their own. It's quite unfortunate. We need to get our acts together and make sure we correct the anomalies.
Let me see if I can quickly touch on this story. It is insulting for northern elders to ask Igbo to leave Nigeria. Wayawu, the chairman of Ohaneze Igbo Elders Forum, Chief Emmanuel Waya, was reacted to the action of the northern elders who went to court to demand that Igbo should leave Nigeria. So much is happening.
It's quite insulting. You can't ask any tribe or any group or any region to leave Nigeria. Neither is it's still not advisable for any group to say we want to disintegrate the country. I think we've got to look at what binds us together and work on how to make sure we have good governance than thinking of disintegration. And it's quite insulting indeed for anybody to say you get out. And even in politics, this is come over rather than get out of the situation. So it's not the best. We've got to work on Nigeria. We've got to fix it together.
All right, I would like to sincerely appreciate you, Ola Animashaun, for your time.
It's nice being here.
We've had a star on this program, Saidi, I know. We have Otumba Dede, you do. Maybe.
I'm not here for title.
Maybe. But thank you very much for coming.
It's nice being with you guys.
We appreciate you out there.
It brings life into all of us. That's the truth.
All right.
Yeah.
You mean talking about Nigeria's
and engaging you guys on a continuous basis, engaging everybody.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for staying with us. The first segment of the show, we reviewed the Anambra election as we look forward to the supplementary election in a few days. And the second segment tomorrow, yes.
It's Tuesday. I thought somebody said
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay.
And the second segment, of course, is from the pages where we took a look at the newspapers. This program runs from Mondays through Fridays from 8 to 10. So you might want to join up if you have been missing other editions. I'll be back here tomorrow with Lola, God's Within. My name is Guyega Olani. Thank you for your time this morning.
Don't forget to register for your permanent voters card, transfer, do whatever you need to do. And when the day comes, ensure that you make your reckoning by voting. My name is Lola Meduteni. Good morning.